Hi, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Omnist Hour. Turn this down a bit just to have a little touch of smooth music in the background. Today, we're going to take a break from normal ramblings, and I'm going to do a reading from my Kindle Vella collection. As I like to do once in a while, give you a taste of my written work. So hopefully you'll follow up on that and take a look at my collection of essays called An Omnist Omnibus, Spiritual Musings and Poetry for the Age of Disinformation. So without further ado, here is a little story, something in the vein of a fairy tale, called Karma, the first and last child of God. Once upon a time, there was a great god of creative thought who, after deep consideration, decided to create a box and put into it all his thoughts which made him uncomfortable and fearful. Having found the perfect solution to eternal bliss, he set about enjoying the first untroubled sleep he'd had in many eons, having delegated all his troubles to his new servant. The new servant, proud of the great responsibility his father had entrusted him with, set off to play with all the thoughts he had inherited and came up with a wonderful idea of creating toys to test them out for real. Some of the toys he created were mastered easily and made to serve his will, gaining him a sense of great personal ability and accomplishment. And he wondered at how easily some of God's problems were solved simply by a little bit of forceful creation. But some of the toys and thoughts they provoked vexed him just as much as they had God, and caused him to become just as troubled and grumpy as his father had been before his genius son came to serve him. He became jealous and disdainful of God, and resented the untroubled sleep of his father, and came to think of his purpose in creation to be that of anti-God. At length, the first son hit upon the same genius solution his father had had. If there were still problems that troubled him, maybe he needed his own servant to bear the weight of these unsolvable problems. So he created a new box and a second servant out of all the thoughts and toy creations that made him uncomfortable and fearful, a partner for his misery and salve for all his problems, the perfect wife, or at least little sister to abuse. This new servant, who came to think of herself as the great goddess, at first was intrigued to take on the assignment of her brother, and fell into the same pattern of fixing what was easy to fix and discovering or creating her own set of uncomfortable and fearful problems and toys. Like her elder family, she finally realized that she'd only made her existence as unpleasant as her brother and father. Rather than immediately creating a new servant to take all her problems and earn some peace, she determined to wake her brother first and ask him to help her sort out the problems in her toy box and his toy box together. They put their heads together and narrowed down their problems to a shared set of bad thoughts and bad creations, and created a new box and a box owner that they called Evil, and threw all their problem thoughts and toys in that box and threw it as far away from them as their father as possible, hoping their father wouldn't be awakened by the noise and see how miserably his children had failed in their missions while he slept. Evil, awakening to her enforced role in a very ungrateful family, determined that, instead of packaging all her own evils in one box and continuing the stupid mistake her elder siblings kept making, would put each new bad thought or creation into a separate named box as soon as she thought of them, and throw them back at her siblings till they did something to wake up the father and got in trouble instead of her. She also turned all the toys flung at her into boxes themselves, and assigned them servants to take their miseries from her too, in anticipation of thus becoming father's favorite through name shifting and muddying by creating new souls. She changed her name to Pandora. Pandora's boxes flew fast and furious then, and quickly provoked angry responses from the other children as their new box now boxed and named toys, who all began tasting of evil in doses small and large, till it was hard to know who was the first Pandora and who had simply changed their name and jumped into a new box again to hide a tarnished identity. All manner of ideas and creations found boxes to play in and with, and the boxes formed time, space, energy, and matter in abundance, boxes within boxes within boxes that gave form and structure to the grand fractal of what had become the creative multiverse. In due time, the gods were salving their wounds with the best of hapless servants they had ever created, a species of intelligent ape they called man, though just as many would have called this poor slave ape Woe-Man, one of their many interesting creations having been the idea of assigning their ideas of good and evil to either the caster or the inept receiver of their cosmic snowballs of divine revenge, and terming the abuse of power as sex, which should be enjoyed by the inferior party as a great honor. The snowballing of men and women became such a popular sport, the gods lost track of their higher missions and became caught up in the game themselves, possessing favorite players and sporting organizations with their creative forces, which the smart apes called religions, philosophies, and ideologies, to give them extra punch when clever ganging up and counterattack strategies were executed. The game became so fun that the gods and their creations lost complete track of the sleeping father, God, and spared not a thought that they might wake a force greater than all they had wielded with and at each other. Anyone who has read Dr. Seuss's classic, The Cat in the Hat Comes Back, can imagine just how much fun all this was, except for the pinkening and graying, bloody, dirty snow. Yet, by some miracle, the father did awaken and let the family within earshot in on a little family secret, one older than time and hidden better than any distance could imagine. For at the same time he created his first son and a god, he had also created and hidden away his real first child, a daughter, who he now introduced as Karma, a box into which he had put all his pleasing thoughts and ideas, and tasked with adding to herself all the ideas of her growing family of siblings she found pleasing as she watched their play from as far away as another universe could be. After thus introducing their long-lost sister, God took his leave of the family again, saying, "Get acquainted with your new sister for a while, and when you begin to understand her, come looking for me in humanity, where I intend to see what I can do to please her further, and become as worthy of my family as she has learned to be." Many lifetimes have God and all his children been searching for each other and their better selves, while Karma watches, waiting for old wounds to heal and new ones to be mended, till the tribe of smart apes they all created and are evolving heal all the wounds their creation spawned, teaching all souls from first to latest to value their long-lost eldest sister Karma most of all, bringing only gifts of good to her attention and agreeing with each other what is truly the evil of something that should never have been forced on another soul in the first place, and earning or reclaiming their own spot among the senior creators by finally making their own peace with Karma. I hope little bit of parable. I won't say that it's gospel truth, but I think it's a truth that matches very closely to the reality we see around us, which is the kind of truth that the Omnist Hour is all about. So if you enjoyed it, you want to pick bones in it, whatever you want to do with that little bit of wisdom, help yourself. Until next time, this is Rob Trump with the Omnist Hour. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. Take care.